So for the confidence interval for the mean, when the standard deviation is known, so we are going to use this formula. So we have the sample mean plus minus the z value alpha divided by 2 times the standard deviation divided by the square root of n. Or to simplify this one, or to make it more specific, so we have sample mean minus, we start with the minus because that pertains to the lower tail, minus the z value of alpha divided by 2 times the standard deviation divided by square root of n is less than or equal to the population mean, and the population mean is less than or equal to the sample mean plus the z value of alpha divided by 2 times the standard deviation divided by the square root of n. So basically, we are solving this one, the lower value of the interval, and this one is the upper value of the interval. Same with what we did earlier. So where z alpha divided by 2 is the value corresponding to an upper tail probability of alpha divided by 2 from the standardized normal distribution. Okay. The value of z alpha divided by 2 needed for constructing a confidence interval is called the critical value of the distribution. So I made mention about the critical value. So the 95% confidence corresponds to a value of 0.05, or this is the 5%. Diba? The 5%, so it's decimal, it's 0.05. So the critical z value corresponding to a cumulative area of 0.975 is 1.96, because there is 0.025 in the upper tail of the distribution, and the cumulative area less than z equals 1.96 is 0.975. So remember, as I've said earlier, that in our example, the confidence level is 95%. Therefore, the critical value is 5%. And the 5%, since we are dealing with normal distribution, normally distributed figures, so the 5% will be divided into 2. So we have 2.5% in the lower tail and 2.5% in the upper tail. So in the 2.5%, so on the upper tail, if you have a critical value there of 2.5%, so ang cumulative area niya, ang iyahang cumulative area is pila? 97.5%, correct? 97.5%. So, kanang imong 0. Kanang imong 97.5%, or in decimal that is 0.975, kung imo na siyang tan-awon didto sa imong z value, sa atong standardized normal distribution table, you can get a z value there of 1.96. Okay? So I hope that while you are watching this video, is you have with you your normal distribution table so that inyong masundan. Okay? So kung inyo nang masubayan, makita ninyo dito that the 97.5% or the 0.975 probability, it has a corresponding z value of 1.96. Okay. Sir, pangutana, nganong dili 95% ako ang pangitaon? Akong balikon, dili ka to 95% because it's normal distribution. We have the lower and the upper tail. So we have to divide the z in the critical value into 2. Mao nang 2.5 lang sa ibabaw o 2.5 lang sa ubos. Okay, there is a different critical value for each level of confidence. That is very true. Different confidence level, different critical value. Okay. There is a different critical value for each level of confidence 1 minus alpha. So a level confidence of 95% leads to a z-value of 1.96. And the 99% confidence corresponds to an alpha value of 0.01. So kana yung 0.01, tungaon pag yun na siya into 2. Okay? For 99% confidence level. So the z-value is approximately 2.58 because the upper tail area is 0.005. Sir, asa gikan ang 0.005? Okay. Diba? The confidence level is 99%. Okay? So, meaning the critical value is 1%. 1%. So, kung imo nang i-decimal ang 1%, that is 0.01. And then, since normal distribution man, with the upper tail and lower tail, we have to divide that into 2, the critical value. So, ang 0.01 nimo, divide mo into 2, that will become 0.005. Okay. And the cumulative area less than z is equal to 2.58. So, ang katungaan na is 0.995 man. So, tanawa gani sa imuhang z table. Pangitaas si asa si probability 0.995. And then makita na nimo siya sa z-value corresponding to 2.58. 2.58. Okay. Then again, a reminder, if you are not yet familiar, if dili pa mo friends with the z-table, then you have to be friends with the z-table karon, no? For you to be able to understand the things that we are discussing. Okay, normal curve for determining the z-value needed for the 95% confidence. So this is what I am saying to you kaganina pa, diba? If you can see there, 0.475 times 2. Okay. So this 0.475 and 0.475 above the mean and below the mean, if you're going to combine that one, that is 0.95. Diba? Since we have 95% confidence interval, so meaning 2.5% on the upper tail, and this is the 2.5% in the lower tail. And if we're going to locate that in your z-table, that is equivalent to here, this point, this is positive 1.96. And for this one, this is negative 1.96. So normal curve for determining the z-value needed for the 99% confidence. Okay, so this one, if we're going to add this one, this will sum up to 99%. So 0.005 here, or we have the 0.05% here and 0.05% here. So if you're going to locate that in the z-table, that is equivalent to 2.58. Okay. So here are the list of the commonly used confidence level. But most of the time, the confidence level that is being used are 90, 95, and 99%. Sir, nga, kung mag-estimate nga nung dili na lang 100%, okay? Think about this. If we are going to increase the level of confidence even to 100%, it means that the interval will become wider. Mas muluag ang interval. And as the interval becomes more wider, then it becomes less accurate. So, therefore, here, if you're going to use 90% confidence level, its equivalent z-value is always 164. So you can recheck this in your z-table. If you're going to use 95%, that is 1.96. And if you're going to use 99%, that is 2.58. So if you can memorize this, then it's much easier for you. You don't need to go into your z-table all the time. Okay. Let's have here example number 3. So estimating the mean paper length with 95% confidence. So a paper manufacturer has a production process that operates continuously throughout an entire production shift. The paper is expected to have a mean length of 11 inches and standard deviation of the length is 0.02 inch. So at periodic intervals, a sample is selected to determine whether the mean paper length is still equal to 11 inches or whether something has gone wrong in the production process to change the length of the paper produced. So you select a random sample of 100 sheets and then the mean paper length is 10.998 inches. So now, construct a 95% confidence interval estimate for the population mean paper length. Okay, in the future, no, or if you have, even now, if you have your own business, if your family has a business, no, of producing something, you can apply these learnings that we are learning in our class. No, you can randomly select uh, samples of your product, and you can do mathematics like this, estimating, determining the point estimate, determining a confidence interval. So sir, wala man ay gamit, asa man na mo pwede gamiton? No. Diri na to makita, so ato pang i-discuss, with the use of these techniques, we can identify if our standard measurements of our product or whatever we are producing is correct. No? Because if it is if in our confidence interval or in our point estimate, it is far away from the standard measurements that we have, therefore there is already a problem in our operation. And through these measures, we can easily identify if there is already an existing problem. And if there is an existing problem, then it calls for an immediate action. So these are the tools that we will be using to diagnose problems within our operation. So dili gyud ta makaingon nga wala ni sila gamit. Naara na sa inyo ha, sa atua, if how creatively use these tools to use it in our operation. So dili ni sila sayang nga mga effort o kahago sa inyong pag-study, sa inyong pag-explore og mga materials, pagtan-aw sa YouTube, or even pag-download aning atong lecture video. Okay. So for the solution, so we are going to use our formula. So if we do our mathematics here and we come up with this particular confidence interval estimate. Okay, this is our confidence interval estimate. That the length of the paper, no, its lower value is 10.9941 and the upper value is 11.0019, which means that the population mean is greater than or equal to 10.9941 but less than or equal to 11.0019. But for us to interpret this more clearly and accurately, you can say this: with 95% confidence, so we have to specify that one. With 95% confidence, you conclude that the population mean is between 10.9941 and 11.0019 inches. So because the interval includes 11, the value indicating that the production process is working properly, and you have no reason to believe that anything is wrong with the production process. So since in our interval it includes the population mean or the standard measurement, which is 11 inches, then the operation is going well. Okay? Ang inyuhang bantayan, what you have to look for is that the standard measurement or the population mean should be included within the interval. Okay, akong balikon. If the standard measurement or the population mean is within your confidence interval estimate, then there is no problem. Everything is okay. The other way around, if the standard value or the standard measurement or the population mean cannot be found within that interval, therefore there is a problem in the operation and you need to 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 provide necessary action to that particular problem. Okay. Let's have here example number 4. Estimating the mean paper length with 99% confidence. So, the same example, but using another or a different level of confidence. So here, construct a 99% confidence interval estimate for the population mean paper length. So we are going to use the same formula for the lower tail and the upper tail. And here, after our calculation, we have our confidence interval here that the population mean is greater than or equal to 10.9928 but less than or equal to 11.0032. So we can see here that even we increase the level of confidence, still the standard 11 inches is within the interval, so it is all well. So once again, because 11 is included within this wider interval, you have no reason to believe that anything is wrong in the production process. So if you can observe also, no, in the two intervals that we calculated, in the 95% to 99%. So as we increase the level of confidence, it makes the interval wider. Diba? Muna na akong iyon kaganina sa inyo ha. That if we increase the level of confidence, it becomes wider but it becomes less accurate. Okay? Nadako ang interval. So, can you ever know the population standard deviation? That is now the question. Could we ever know the population standard deviation? So, if you knew that the standard deviation, if you knew the standard deviation, you really do not have a need to construct a confidence interval estimate of the mean. Practically, nana. Kabalo naman day ka sa population and standard deviation. So, we don't need to calculate for confidence interval estimate of the mean or even the sample mean. But more significantly, in virtually all real-world business situation, you would never know the standard deviation of the population. Because you can only get the population standard deviation if you're going to measure all of the items. And that is laborious and that is costly. And it will just make your time unproductive. So most of the time, it is impossible, not really impossible, but the population standard deviation is difficult to determine or not being determined. So in business situations, population are often too large to examine all those values. So that is really true. That's why what we have or what is available is just the sample standard deviation. And the population standard deviation is unknown. Ulit ko na ako. Most of the time, the population standard deviation is unknown. Now, confidence interval for the mean where the standard deviation is unknown. Diba? I told you in the start of this video, we have two cases. Or in the preparation of confidence interval for the mean, we have different way on how to prepare the confidence interval if the standard deviation is known, katong kaganina, and another one is if it is unknown. So in case that the population standard deviation is unknown, instead of using the Z table, we will be using the T table. Instead of using the standardized normal distribution, what we are going to use is the student's T distribution. So we will be using the T distribution. So at the start of the 20th century, William S. Gossett excuse me, was working at Guinness in Ireland. So trying to help brew better beer less expensively. So as he had only small samples to study, he needed to find a way to make inferences about means without having to know the population standard deviation. So Gossett solved this problem by developing what today is known as the student's T distribution, or the T distribution for for short. So flash here in the screen is the formula for the T value. Okay? The formula in getting the T value, diba? If the population standard deviation, we get the Z value. So if it is unknown, if the standard deviation is unknown, then we are going to solve for the T value. So actually, the formula is just similar with what we use if the standard deviation is known. Diba? Here, we have the sample mean minus the population mean divided by the sample standard deviation divided by the square root of n. So the only difference there is this one. The only difference is instead of using the population standard deviation, what we use is the sample standard deviation. So that is the only difference. Okay, so you have to remember this formula in solving for the T value, because the T value will be used later on in the preparation of our confidence interval. Okay, so properties of the T distribution. So the T distribution is very similar in appearance to the standardized normal distribution. Both distributions are symmetrical and bell-shaped, with the mean and the median equal to 0. However, the T distribution has more area in the tails and less in the center than does the standard normal distribution. So this is due to the fact that because the sample standard deviation is used to estimate the unknown population standard deviation, the values of T are more variable than those of for Z. So mo lang pud iyahang difference. So if we're going to look now on the graphical representation of the T distribution, this is just close to the normal distribution, very close. The only difference is that it has more tails here. It has greater area on the tails. Okay, the blue one, right? Okay, so if the random variable x is normally distributed, then the following statistic has a t distribution with n minus 1 degrees of freedom. Okay, we will be using the n minus 1 degrees of freedom in our t distribution. So you can search that in the internet. You can grab a copy. You can download a copy of the T distribution, and so that you can practice and you can master using the T distribution table, the T table. So it is easy to use. For example, if you have if you have a sample size of 25, for example, so your n is 25, and here we need to identify the degrees of freedom. And remember that degrees of freedom is n minus 1. N minus 1. So for a sample size of 25, so n minus 1, 25 minus 1 is 24. So you're going to go into asa si 24. Nara. And the second thing that you have to know is what is the level of confidence and what is the critical value. For example, 95% ang level of confidence. So 95%, so the critical value is 5%. So that is 0.05. And then, since we are assuming a normal distribution, we cut that into 2. So we have 0.025. So pangitaon din nimo si asa nga column si 0.025 na ra. Ang iyahang cumulative probability is 0.975. So diri nga column. So diri nga column, itungod nimo kang 24. Asa man to si 24? Wala ko nalibat, gamay mangud kay diri sa akong copy. So we have 2.0619. That is your t value. Okay? That is now your t value. Inana na ka sayon ang pagpangita sa t value using your t table. So I hope nga inyo nang ma-apply in our examples and our exercises later on. Okay. So the degrees of freedom n minus 1 are directly related to the sample size n. So as the sample size and degrees of freedom increase, S becomes a better estimate of the population standard deviation, and the t distribution gradually approaches the standardized normal distribution. Muna nga, the more we increase the number of samples, the better. Okay? And until the two are virtually identical, that is when we increase the number of samples. So with a sample size of about 120 or more, the sample standard deviation estimates closely enough so that there is a little difference between the T and Z distribution. So dili ra gyapon sila magkalayo. Sa nool magkaduol, dili LDR. Sa mga nay LDR diha. Okay. So as stated earlier, the T distribution assumes that the random variable X is normally distributed. So in practice, however, when the sample size is large enough and the population is not very skewed in most cases, you can use the t distribution to estimate the population mean when the population standard deviation is unknown. So when dealing with a small sample size and a skewed population distribution, the confidence interval estimate may not provide a valid estimate of the population mean. So to assess the assumption of normality, you can evaluate the shape of the sample data by constructing a histogram, a stem and leaf display, a box plot, or normal probability plot. However, the ability of any of these graphs to help you evaluate normality is limited when you have small sample size. So you can use the previous things that we discussed now, especially this graphical representation to evaluate if the distribution is normally distributed. Again, we can use these techniques once our data is normally distributed, and you can test that by using histogram, leaf and stem display, and so on and so forth. Okay. So you find the critical values of t for the appropriate degrees of freedom from the table of the t distribution. So ako nang gitudlo sa inyo ha in the previous slide. The columns of the table present the most commonly used cumulative probabilities and the corresponding upper tail areas. So the rows of the table represent the degrees of freedom, and the critical t values are found on the cell of the table.